Good morning, everybody. This is Judith Echo. You're listening to Mad Love. Let's get into it. So I didn't do a show yesterday because I had an appointment with to go get my blood test done. I think I mentioned it last year. I signed up for Function. It's not cheap. But they do a lot more tests than what you get at the doctor's offices or at the doctor's office. And what's really frustrating for me is at this big age, there's so many things going on, and you just always sort of feel like they're just peddling different things, just to try to make a buck. For instance, last year I had to have a biopsy. Now, this really happened. So, it takes a week or two to have it. So then they told me they thought they saw something. I said, okay, well, I know how to fix that. So I did castor oil wraps for that week or two in between tests. Do you know when they got me under, they go, oh, what we thought was the initial spot is now gone. So we're focusing on a new spot. I'm like, see, I'm starting to think you all just say anything, because castor oil does work. It's really great for inflammation. It gets rid of masses. You just put wraps, on the affected area, and it really can make a massive difference. And so when you have people like, oh, we thought we saw something, but that spot is gone. Now we're just going to focus on this. It's like, oh, okay. So you're not really into this for real. You all are just trying to charge me which I'm still paying for these tests. They give you a payment plan. And it's just like, geez, I don't know. Everything just feels so scammy these days. You just don't know who to trust. So anyway, I do the function test because I'd like a more expansive panel. And I know it's expensive. And when I have the money, I do it because it is an investment in my health. And just dealing with dealing with the hospital system and all these health things for the last several years with my mom and watching how they treated my brother, there's just so much about it that I find unsavory. And so as much of it as I can take on myself, I will. And that's a promise I've made to myself because, there's not a lot of dignity in the healthcare system right now. There's not a lot of, dying with dignity is super important. People want to be comfortable. They want to be happy. They want to know that someone's really doing the absolute best they can for another person, which is why I have used hospice for my mom. My brother wanted to leave a facility, and I just told him, I'm like, you can't leave. You don't have enough help. So you can't leave unless you're on hospice. And he agreed, and he just wanted to go home. I don't think he fully understood the whole time what was happening, but that's part of bipolar disorder. That's part of his depression. Some things he just, I don't know, trying to have a rational conversation with a bipolar person. Basically, that's been a lot of my adult life. And he didn't fully understand everything. And he lived in his own world. You could tell him something and he's just going to do whatever he wanted to do and believe whatever he wanted to believe. It served him well in other areas of his life, but just in general, it was not a good philosophy. So I take the tests, I get all this blood work done, and I want to see myself what's going on so I can get a fuller picture, because they only do certain tests when you are sick. So I want to see the blood work of all of everything, what it's supposed to look like when you're healthy. I'm struggling with words this morning. Sorry about that. I'm stumbling and bumbling. But anyway, I'll leave a link in the description just to check it out if you want to. You don't have to do that. I would say if you're in between 40 and 60, you probably want to do these tests if you can afford it. It is definitely a luxury, but it shouldn't be. It is definitely a first world luxury, but it shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why our healthcare system is so horrible. And I applaud all the young people going into nursing and becoming doctors. We need you. We need you. So I'm glad you're going into it. But a lot of what is happening feels very transactional and very, not into health and healing. My mom, we stumbled on the last good doctor, I think, and my mom had him, and he was great. He was really, really a compassionate, thoughtful guy. I had explained to him, and she was already deeply in the throes of dementia, and we really only visited his office once before we had to go into home health and then in the hospice. But he was very kind and a great doctor and a great partner through hospice. I cannot say the same about my brother's team. I was not really impressed by anybody on his team. He and I were very, very different. The standards that he held and the standards that I hold are very different. And I didn't want to upset him, so I left everything the way he had it because that was the team he preferred. But yeah, he and I did everything the opposite. So he was completely comfortable with this doctor, because I met his doctor in February, and Tracy was convinced that he had seen him or had never met him. And I think the doctor was like, yeah, we met before. But he was asking me some questions. I was like, if you've met him before and you've been his doctor since 2023 at least, why are you asking all these questions of me? Which I could kind of understand, because my brother used to go, like, he would become a mute in the hospital. He would not talk. He just wouldn't share anything. So a lot of times I think they were assuming he was like a homeless person. And it's like, no, he had a long career. He's had a great education. He went to some of the finer schools in the city. He's a smart guy. But that's the power of mental illness. It's strong. Anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that. I am tired of cleaning his apartment, though, I can tell you that. Yeah, that is a lot of work. And we've been doing it for a month. Finally getting close to the end. So, anyway, if you want to get the function test, go ahead and do that. It really does give you a bigger picture. It is expensive. Hopefully they'll figure out how to get the cost down. But I'm telling you, insurance is not going to cover it. And that's where the liability in the healthcare system comes from. Is because the insurance has figured out all these things they're not going to pay for. Or they're only going to pay part of it, And so, yeah. I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. But I am going to get those results back over the next few weeks, and we'll see. Last year, I wasn't in the worst health, but they didn't give me a glowing review either. I had a lot of markers that were off, but I was not overwhelmingly, mostly healthy. So I was like, I had 80 things that looked great and like 20, I think 20 80 things that looked great and 20 things that needed some work. So hopefully I got that inflammation down, and that's really important to me, because inflammation is the cause of everything. I don't know if people realize it, but dementia is inflammation of the brain. And I don't want that. So I had two parents with Alzheimer's, both my mom and my dad. I do not want that at all. So I'm going to work on not getting that. So I've gotten very good reviews for my Refuel newsletter. I am going to really spend the next 6 months working extremely hard on it. I'm committed to leaving the original newsletter for free, but I am going to create a paid tier and offer a little bit more content and a little bit more value for people who want to pay. Although I think the free newsletter has an extraordinary amount of information, stuff that I would have loved to have found and been able to use during my journey. Because I literally would sit up at 3 a.m. and Google whatever the issue was. Why is my mom unable to sleep with dementia? Why is my mom rumbling around in her closet and fumbling around all night, with dementia? With everything, I just Google all of it. How long does dementia last? What are the stages? Things that I just felt like, to me, indicated I couldn't tell when she was in the last stage and when she was in, I didn't know the stages. So I learned that as a result of a bunch of Google searches at 3 o'clock in the morning, because she was just really upset. And there was a stretch where she just wouldn't sleep and couldn't stay in the bed and thought she had slept and all of that. And this is where I fault the healthcare system. They're not going to give you a big book of instructions. You're just going to have to figure all these things out on your own. And what I'm trying to do with this newsletter is make sure people don't have to just be out there without one resource. And yes, you can join groups. And yes, you can be a part of all these communities or whatever. But I was already taking care of my mom, and I didn't want to have to sign into a group and ask questions. And I just wanted the answers. You know what I mean? I didn't really feel like building a community or being part of that. I don't know why. Excuse me. Because the way it was presented was like, well, you can join a group. And I was like, I don't want to join a group. I need an answer tonight. She is raging in the hallway right now. I don't want to wake up and try to remember tomorrow to join a group and ask a bunch of questions about that while I'm at work, because I also was working full time. So I feel like this resource is super valuable. What I'm going to create on top of it is a paid platform that will be affordable, but it will allow a little bit more access, a little bit more in-depth, a little bit more detail. I was going to do a community on school, but I think I'm going to grow the newsletter first. And if that demand continues, we'll go ahead and do more of a communal thing. But, the paid tier will have more paperwork, more details as I go through this probate process, that kind of stuff. But the last issue was very good and I think a lot of people should save it, because we're moving past the generations of people who died with not a lot. We're getting ready to get to people who will die and leave complicated probate cases. You see what I'm saying? So like, it'll be, multiple children, multiple cars, or a house, or 3 or 4 insurance policies, things were from their work from 20 years ago, that's still out there and has beneficiaries on it that may not be alive anymore, or they're not married anymore, because people do that. I do that. You live a life, you keep going, you get married, that person's on policies, you divorce that person, you don't go back and change that policy. That person dies, or that person is still alive, but they are on the policy, but technically shouldn't be, because there's another husband or another wife, or it's going to get exponentially more complicated, and people don't keep up with that paperwork. They don't update it every time they do something differently. So I'm going to try to walk people more through what this all looks like strategically and from a business standpoint, because your loved one may die on a date, but the business of their lives continue. There's even several days after, if the doctor doesn't sign the death certificate, legally that person isn't dead yet in the eyes of the law. So it's just a lot to take in and a lot to try to figure out. And these are things that nobody talks about, and you don't learn about it in school, and you're just trying to live your life and handle it all at the same time. Just like I'm learning, you can't hardly give away any furniture or anything because a lot of these places don't have trucks anymore. A lot of these places that take furniture donations that used to have trucks and come out and pick things up, well, they don't have those trucks anymore. They've partnered with services. So when you call and you think you're making this donation, you have to pay them. You have to pay them to come and get your stuff. And before people are like, well, didn't you call? So I called several places, and they all partner with somebody. I did not call Salvation Army for some reason. And I didn't call Goodwill. The way I read their ads, I was like, oh, everybody's partnered with this one place. One of them is called Relay, and they come and pick your stuff up. Very few people come and pick your stuff up for free. I'm not saying nobody does it, but the places I reached out to, and I was determined to get this done as quickly as possible this week because it's kind of the last big thing. Every place I called a place that was the ad said it was a donation center. And then when I called them, they were the only ones that didn't have this other place partnered with them. And so I think that place, they make you write down all the things that are going to be in the donation, and then they give you a fee. I'm telling you, you can't even give shit away. And it's like, so I'm trying to give donations to people who need furniture, and I have to pay to give it to them. And yes, it's a tax write-off, but come on. What are we doing? Why is everything complicated? And I'm just seriously over it. Everything just costs entirely too much money. So anyway, and I'm thankful because, I am thankful that there are things that I have to do that I can afford to do them. I don't understand why everything still needs to be expensive. I'm just old enough to remember when life was manageable, when people had jobs and could still afford their lives. You know what I mean? Like a man could make $40,000 a year and still support his family. And now and I get it, inflation is a thing, but the way things are now, you're not even getting value. Say that salary is now $60,000. You can't buy nearly as much as you did 40 years ago on $40K. So I don't know. I don't see how this is not going to end with people and torches and pitchforks and people just demanding better, like just demanding more for the people. Because, like I said, I don't even know if voting even still works. I know in Missouri, there have been several things people voted on and they were just like, nah, we're not going to do it. And I'm not sure voting for president. I feel like they already know. And I used to think this, and then I got talked into voting because people died and all that. And that's fine. It's fine. I voted a lot. But now I'm starting to see the scam in it because I feel like they already know who they're going to pick. How else can you explain all of the polls picking Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump winning in 2016? He got the endorsement that she didn't get. And the people thought that, and that's when they had to start explaining like, oh, well, the polls can be this or that. Because the polls were shocking for Obama, right? But he got the blessing of these Bohemian Grove people or whoever is really picking the presidents and world leaders. I mean, it's just starting to feel like a scam. And then all these people who are like, I'm so sorry that I endorsed Trump. Well, thanks, Tucker Carlson. I do think it's big of you to say that, but I also had a coworker who apologized for helping Wesley Bell get elected. And I appreciated the apology, but it didn't help. It was still horrible working for him. And I think it's going to be horrible for a long time recovering from Donald Trump. But I am excited that it can be built back better. But like following any aftermath, you need the right leadership. And hopefully the right leadership will emerge. So that's all I have for you today. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Be safe. Just, I know it's discouraging for a lot of people, but don't stay at home all day watching that shit, or don't watch it during your work day. Just focus on all the good things. Yesterday marked the 10-year anniversary of Prince's passing, which time flies. I remember where I was when my friend Shayna called to tell me that Prince had died. I just couldn't believe it. And I don't know if he was poisoned or hurt. All these people who seem to stand up to record labels wind up dying in their 50s and unexpectedly, So I don't know if his death was natural or unnatural, but I was a huge Prince fan. I still am. And I just pray that we get to a place where things don't have to be so fucking mysterious. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like a lot of evil has been pervasive around us. And quite frankly, I'm over it. And I know you are too. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Please take care of yourselves. We'll meet back here soon. Be well.